White chocolate raspberry cheesecake bites. Luscious, smooth, creamy. Just that perfect couple of little bites of something sweet and flavorful on a cold winter's night. And they're not hard to make, and they make 48. So you can eat some, you can freeze some, you can give some away. It'll be a perfect dessert to make. So I start out with 1.5 cups of Oreo cookies, and I've taken all the cream filling out. And then I have 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and I just pour that in. And I'm just going to mix it together so it makes almost like a little feel of like wet sand. And after I mix it in, I'm just going to take a rounded teaspoon, and I'm going to fill all my little muffin tins up with it. And I have a little tamper, so I'm going to just tamp it down so that is the base to my little cheesecake bites. And this is almost mixed. And who doesn't love cookies with butter in them, right? So this should be delicious. You don't need a ton. So I just take, like I said, a little rounded. Whoop. And I'm just going to tap it down. Might have to hold that a little bit. Oh, the tamper makes it really nice because it really makes it tight in there so your cheesecake filling won't bleed underneath it. That makes the perfect little cheesecake base. Now we're going to make the luscious raspberry sauce that will swirl into the custard for the cheesecake. So I have 5 ounces of fresh organic raspberries, and I'm adding a tablespoon of sugar, and then I have a slurry of cornstarch and water that I'm just going to twirl in here a little bit. It settles to the bottom sometimes. So you just want to re-swirl it around so it'll, yep, it's settled. It's been sitting in here for a few minutes, so I better get it so it gets it all out of there so it's nice and thick. I think, actually, I'm going to use my spatula because I don't want to lose any of that because I need it thick enough in order to go in into the cheesecake so that it'll be thick enough that it won't all sink to the bottom. So I'm going to turn this on to a medium heat, and I'm going to start whisking this around slowly. I'm going to let it just start heating up for a minute, and this is going to break down and it's going to start dissolving. We want to dissolve the sugar, and the cornstarch water will make it thicker. And as this starts to break down, well, I'm not making a ton of sauce, but when it gets nice and thick, we don't want it milky. That means the cornstarch has not dissolved yet. You want it to be translucent and a nice thick sauce, almost like a little bit of a jam. And at the very end, I'm going to add a tablespoon of Framboise, which is a raspberry liqueur. It just enhances the raspberry flavor, makes it delicious. If you don't want alcohol and use that, you don't have to use it, but I'm just adding it for a little extra flavor. So I've been stirring the raspberry sauce, and as you can see, all the berries have broken down. It's gotten thicker, and the sugar has dissolved. So now I'm going to add a teaspoon of the red raspberry Framboise, and just put that right in. Smells wonderful. And I'm just going to stir that, turn the heat off, stir that around. Oh. It's amazing, all of a sudden you add that little bit of raspberry liqueur and the smell is wonderful. Alright, so I'm going to pour this into this Pyrex dish because I do want it to cool down before I add it to the cheesecake custard filling. I don't want to add that to it when it's hot, and I'm going to be making the filling in just a minute, so I'll let this cool and we'll be ready to add that to the top and swirl it in so it's our little raspberry bites. So now we're going to make the custard for the cheesecake, and anytime that I am melting chocolate, white or dark or milk, doesn't matter, with half and half or cream, I always use a double boiler. It's just a safety measure, and a double boiler, all it is a little pan, or a big, just depending on what size you're making, but I put some water in the bottom of the pan, and you don't want it to touch the bottom of the bowl, otherwise that'll cook it too fast. You just want to have a steady simmering heat on it, and that way it'll melt your chocolate really nice and nothing will get broken or not properly melted. So we have 6 ounces of white chocolate chips, and then I have 1/4 of a cup of half and half. And all I want to do right now with that is I just am melting it. And again, I'm melting it over the double boiler, and I can even let it just sit there for a few minutes. And it's just going to go ahead and start melting, and when it's done, I'm just going to take it off the pan and set it on the counter and let it just wait until I finish doing the rest of the custard. So while this is going ahead and starting to melt, I'm going to throw in 12 ounces of good quality cream cheese, and then I have 1/4 cup of sugar, and I'm going to start whipping that, and I'm going to get it light and fluffy, and then I will add 1 egg at a time. Because this is the base of your cheesecake now when we do this. It doesn't take very long to whip it up because your cream cheese is at room temperature, so it should whip up very quickly for you. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to go ahead and add 1 egg. And then I'm going to check that half and half in the chocolate too, and just give it a little stir. So we're going to mix one at a time. Oh, that's already starting to melt. Doesn't take very long. There we go. I'll just put that back down in there so it all melts at the same time. Now I'm going to whip in the egg. The egg is what binds the cream cheese and makes that nice custard inside your cake. All right, we're just going to add that last egg. All right, whip that in. And it's getting a little thinner now, so it'll be so we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then as soon as that white chocolate mixture is melted, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add that to this, and then your custard's all done. So the nice thing about this recipe, it really didn't take very long to make it, but what is nice about it is that you can, again, if you're going to use them in the first 2 days, you can go ahead and refrigerate them. They're all ready to go. Or you can freeze them and save them for later. So it makes it nice that you can have something made in advance and not have to do it all last minute. All right, well that only took a sec. And let me get a mitt and stir this. I know that bowl's probably getting hot. Oh, this is melting really nice. So I'm going to finish melting this, and then I will add that to the custard mixture, and then we will be ready to start assembling our little mini cheesecakes. Okay, so the white chocolate and the half and half has melted, and it's pretty thin. It's not thick or anything. But I do want to scrape the sides of the bowls down because you always get some things that didn't mix properly, and you don't want to have chunks of cream cheese. You want everything to be mixed and incorporated properly. So I'm just going to give that one quick more of a wipe, or I'm sorry, of a mix. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the white, that is hot. I'm going to add the white chocolate half and half mixture, and I think I'm going to slowly add that while I'm whisking or whipping it in, so that because of the eggs, it didn't need to be tempered, which means that you add some of the filling to the hot chocolate, but just to be careful, I just want to add it slowly. And that is it. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add it around a tablespoon to each of our little cheesecake cups, and then we're going to bake it at 350 for 20 minutes. You just want it not to be sticky on the top. You want it to just be set nicely. So we're going to start adding this, and I will get the raspberry sauce and I'll show you how to assemble. These are going to be so good. I can't wait to have them come out of the oven. And very easy to assemble. So I'll just do this first row, and then I'll show you how I added a little bit of that raspberry sauce. And then we want it to have a marbled effect, so I'm just adding actually a half a teaspoon, so just a little bit. Oh, it smells so fresh and fruity. That's going to be really nice in that cheesecake. All right, and then what I'm going to do, I have one of those cute little bamboo skewers. I just want to swirl it a little bit so you can tell that it's a raspberry mini cheesecake bite. And you just give it a couple little swirls around, and I'm going to finish the rest of the pan and get them in the oven, and then we will have fun eating some later on. The cheesecake bites just came out of the oven, and I just wanted to show you, because of the fruit, the center will set a little bit, but they are lightly golden brown. So I just want you to know that when you check them, it shouldn't be sticky at all. It should have a nice firm set to it, and then you'll know they're done. But you don't want to leave them in there too long either, because you don't want them to dry out. So you just want them set, no stickiness, let them cool, and you're ready to serve.